Hello and welcome to Lewis Nichols Live Stories in association with Shane Solomon. And I'm really excited to bring on our next guest today. And I'm in a different position than normal, so this is cool. So hello to Will Mellor. Thanks for coming on today.
It's all right, nice to be here. We've had a bit of a switcheroo.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
I'll be honest why. Because if I have a preference of where my face is, I prefer this side of my face because we know, as my kids always remind me, Dad, your nose is bent. And if you look from this side, it bends that way, and that side, it doesn't look so bad. So if there's a preference, I'd like to sit this side.
I just have a big nose in general, so it doesn't matter what's...
We're in the nose club, there's no doubt about that.
You're here in Cornwall, and I know it's a place you like anyway, and you've come at a really good time. The weather's really nice. You're going to do the Eden Project tomorrow. Yeah. So are you having fun so far?
Yeah, lovely. It worked out. It's mine and my wife's anniversary, so... when you asked me to do this, it was an opportunity to come and do this because I've never done anything where I've spoke about my life, really. I've done loads of interviews, obviously, but one like this for a long time. And also because it's our anniversary, I thought it's an opportunity to come down to the coast. We love going to the coast. We've not spent enough time down here. So yeah, I've come down with my wife and we're going to spend the weekend here, and our anniversary is just in a couple of days.
Well, I hope we're going to have a good time, and I'm looking forward to the zipline videos tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on that.
So today will be a journey. It's kind of from the very beginning to where you're at now, and there's been so much that's happened. I mean, doing the research for this interview, I was kind of taken back with how much you've done and how versatile your career has been. So going back to the kind of beginning for you, which is kind of growing up in your childhood, were you always into performing? Was it something where you were like, this is something I want to do? I get a buzz of performing and entertaining.
Oh, I have to be honest. It was something I've only done really, from as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a performer. From a little kid, when we used to go on holidays, we come from a very working class background, so we never went abroad. We go on caravan holidays and Butlins and stuff like that, and if there was ever a talent show, I'd be in it. I'd be on stage singing or dancing or doing something to win. So, you know, it'd be, if there was a karaoke, I'd be on it. You know, it was, as I got older, that was. But when I was a kid, it was just something in me that I would tell everybody that, you know, well, I'm going to be on telly. I'm going to be famous one day. And I'd said this, as I say, with no real reason. It was just something that I felt I was born to do. Like it was in me without anyone putting it in me, because no one in my family is a performer. My dad was a singer. He used to do the circuit and the working men's clubs, and he was a bit of a crooner and a singer. So I suppose it might have come from that. But yeah, it was just a dream of mine, and I used to watch films, and I used to watch musicals like Grease, and I used to watch Rocky, and I'd mimic all the moves, and it was just, I used to close my eyes at night and dream one day I might be able to do it.
Well, were your family supportive? Because I know sometimes when you say, you know, I want to do this, they say, look, maybe get a trade underneath you as well. Or were they just supportive and had your back going forward? It
was just, I suppose it was one of them, it was hard to stop me doing, if there was a party, you know, and the song came on, I'd be in the middle of the floor doing Michael Jackson impressions, or I just couldn't stop. It was in me and they saw it. Obviously we had them conversations as I got a bit older, but you got to remember, I was on TV at 12 years old, and that came about because I was just banging on the door all the time, going and finding ways to perform. And there was a little amateur theatre group near us that put on this show, and it was Nutcracker and the Mouse King, some weird thing. So it was like a ballet with a story, and I played a little soldier in a cupboard, and I came out and I had to kill these rats with a sword. It was a weird thing, but I was on stage and I was doing something. And then there was an advert in the paper. There's a local agency called Lane Management that were looking for street kids who had a bit of ability, and they was saying, you know, if you want to bring them down, we'll see them, and then we'll see if they've got anything. And my mum took me down there, my dad, and we went down, and there was hundreds of kids everywhere. And I went in the room with Elaine Greeley, who was the agent, and we had a chat, and we did some stuff, and she came out and she went, "Whose is this boy?" And my mum and dad put her on. She said, "He's got something, and I want to take him on. He's got something, this kid." And that was the first time I thought, there's a chance here that my dreams could come true. I was 11, and then I got the first 3 auditions I went for. I got the job, so I was wasn't feared. I had no nerves, and my dad had put me in the boxing ring when I was 7. So I was a confident kid. And the first job I got was a documentary on Clive Barker, who was a horror writer. He wrote Hellraiser, Hellbound, all them sort of stuff. And it was a documentary about his life, and I played him as a schoolboy. And I got the job because I had the same colour eyes. That's how it started. Wow. Everyone else had brown eyes, I had blue eyes. I got the job, and then I got a few more jobs, and then it just started to work its way, and I was doing more stuff.
When would you say your first, because you've done so much, but in a sense of television breaks, I know you did, is it 1990, you did Children's Ward?
Yeah, I was 14.
So would you consider that one of your first breaks?
Yes, because it was, you got to remember, in the early days, I was doing magazine shoots. There was magazines where, do you remember you'd do a picture like that? And then there'd be a speech bubble. I was doing them, and it was High Magazine. And all. So I was doing them sort of, because in this game, you're not guaranteed anything, and you could get one job and then not work for 3 years, and so it was, you're just hoping that the auditions come and you get the jobs. And when I got Children's Ward, I was 14, and it was Kieran O'Brien. He was in a series called Gruey all them years ago. For all the people that are our age, you might remember that. And he was a big actor then for a young actor. And it was speaking roles, because a lot of other stuff, I did a commercial, I did a Karamak commercial when I was about 15 or 16. And but Children's Ward was a big break for me because my friends had seen it, I'd watched it, and then I was going to be on it. And it wasn't massive. I probably did 4 or 5 episodes, but it was talking, it was speaking, I was acting. So I was oiling I was oiling the machine. I was doing it. I was out there, and I wasn't great. I was learning on the job. I'd never had any training, but that was the thing, is I was doing it. And so Children's Ward was a big thing for me.
I know you said you were learning on the job. Why do you think when the agent said to your parents, he's got something, what do you think it was about you that they clicked with, or that, because you seem to have an ability to really connect with people. I've noticed, even in the public, but every time I watch something when you're on it, I'm gripped. And I think you have a way of connecting with an audience through the screen.
Different then to what it is now. I think honesty is key to, if people do feel connected to me. I think people, if I'm doing anything that's unscripted nowadays, I sort of say it as it is, and I think people know what they're getting with me, and I think that makes people feel comfortable, and I hope that's the case, because I always want to be genuine to who I am. But when I was a kid, I think it was confidence. They were looking for a kid they could put in a room who wasn't afraid to be alive in that room. And when you're a child actor, that's what they're looking for sometimes, because there's not many kids that are great actors, because they're young and they're learning the trade. Yeah. But if you've got confidence, it's half the battle. And if you're willing to, if they say, right, go up there, stand on your head, you go and do it. You know what I mean? They don't want kids that are nervous and are a bit shy, or they want someone who's going to go in there and give it everything. And I was that kid. You couldn't keep me in. I mean, I was everywhere. I was bouncing off the walls. My dad was like, he's got an head full of magic, that kid. And I couldn't describe myself anymore. That's who I am. I mean, ADHD, I know I have that now, but then there wasn't a thing, ADHD. It was, like it is now, it's not going to change anything. But I've always been that way. I've always been on the front foot. What else can I do? What else can I do?
And from there, you did a short stint in Brookside. Am I right with that? So how did that opportunity come about?
Brookside, a casting as usual. I went for a casting, and again, I was in it I did a few episodes, and then I went, and then there was a bit of a break, then I did a few more episodes. So again, it was a big step, but it wasn't a lead role. It was another bit part, but it was, again, you just got to keep climbing the ladder slowly, to try and achieve your dreams. And so I got the job. I was over the moon. I mean, when I got Children's Ward, I cried, because it was like, I remember my dad saying, how long have you been? I got home from school, and I'm just going back to this. I got home from school, and my dad went, come here, you. How long have you been called Ben Rollinson? And I thought, have I been lying at school? Have I told him a different name? I thought I was in trouble, because I was a bit of a mischief at school. There's no doubt about that. And he went, they've been on the phone, you got the job. And just the relief and the feeling that someone believed in me, And Brookside, again, when I got the job, that feeling is an unbelievable feeling. When you're up against other people and you get it, it's another little thing to go, you're on the right path here. People believing in you. And that's all some people need, is someone to go, you can do this. Because a lot of the time it was me and my dream. And then suddenly it's like, maybe I'm right. Maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. So Brookside, was a big thing. Big soap opera. I've got a story about it actually, because my character in Brookside, he met Jackie Dixon on a campsite in Edinburgh, and he got caught in the tent giving her cider, having a bit of a kiss, and her dad come and pulled her out the tent and had a go at me. You sleep, she froze up, all that. Lovely guy, my guy. Anyway, I go to them visit her in Brookside, and she's like, oh, I don't fancy him anymore. So her friend goes, I do, but she was only 16. This friend, this school uniform, and I had this van called the Passion Wagon. Started to understand what this character was. And I end up getting this girl pregnant, my character. Got this girl pregnant, and then I go back to Manchester. And then the story continues. She's pregnant, and I've done one, right? I've left. Well, I'm going to the pub this one day. I'm going to meet my mates. I'm walking through the cut-through. There's like a cut-through from my estate to where the pub is. And as I'm walking through, there's an old lady walking towards me. And she slapped me so hard across the face. She went, I went, what are you doing? And she went, you've left that girl pregnant. You've left her. You should be a disgrace. You're a disgrace to your family. You should be ashamed of yourself. I went, it's not real. You fucking idiot. I was fuming. I got my ears ringing. I swear to you. I got to the pub and went, what's happened to you? This woman just hit me. Because people believe it. That was my first realisation, that people believe what they see on television. They believe these characters. And she thought I'd got her pregnant and just left her there. I went, it's not real. Big slap face when I got to the pub.
That's mad. I can't
big
believe
handprint
that.
on my face. Yeah.
So obviously,
Brookside was great though.
You were talking about kind of stepping up the ladder, and then Hollyoaks,
That was
big
it, yeah.
part of your life. So was the writer of Brookside the same as Hollyoaks? Was it Phil?
Same creator, Phil Redmond.
So did he have any say in you doing that?
No, Hollyoaks was an amazing. It's unbelievable, really, because that was the moment. Getting Hollyoaks was the moment when I realised, shit, this is happening, because it was a new soap opera. It was called Teen Soap. They hadn't had a name for it yet. And it was like what you see on the X Factor or Britain's Got Talent now. It was hundreds of people because they were casting for this new big show. So I go down for the casting. As you can see, my hair's gone a bit grey now, but I had dark hair. And I go in, 19 years old, and I read. And then you go and stand outside, and they were taking Polaroids of us. And they'd come out with a stack of Polaroids and go, right, you can go. And then people would go when the numbers got smaller. And anyway, that round of casting ended, and I read for Kurt. There was Kurt, Jambo, and Tony. And Kurt was like this suave guy, as if anyone remembers the show. Good-looking, suave. And anyway, I go home, and I go on holiday to a caravan site in Wales, or wherever it was, Towyn or something, North Wales. And I bleached my hair blonde because it was Paul Gascoigne did it in the 1990 World Cup or whatever it was. And I bleached my hair blonde. It was all the rage. And I got a phone call. Remember, no mobile phones in them days. From the campsite manager banged on the caravan door. Is he a William here? I was William then, more so. My dad's called William, I'm called William. They call him Bill and me Will. He's William, your mum's on the phone, so I've run to the office and she says, your agent's been on Hollyoaks, or it wasn't Hollyoaks then, you've got to go back for another casting for that. I said, my hair's blonde. I said, I've dyed my hair blonde. And the agent went, you're going to have to go in. I was like, what are they going to say? So I go in, and as I'm walking in, Phil Redmond, I've got me in the casting area outside, there's loads of people again. Phil Redmond comes out and goes, who are you reading for? And I said, Kurt. He went, no, you're reading for Jambo now.
Okay.
Because of the hair.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. I went in and read with Jeremy Edwards, who got Kurt in the end, and Nick Pickard, who played Tony. And we're reading in partners, to trying to do to see who works well together. I go home, I get a phone call the next day. I'm thinking, I've got this job. And they said, it's between you and one other person. You're going to have to come in again. And I thought, having gone from thousands to hundreds to tens, then if I don't get it now, this is my dream. It's either going to go one way or another. This could be it. And I walked in and I read, and I had my bleached blonde hair, and I'm zany like this. And there was another guy, he had slick back hair. It was a very different look to me. And they didn't know which road they were going to go down. And then we did our reading, and then the casting director came in and she went, okay. So I said, you're not going to tell us now. And the guy was sat there with me. She said, we have to tell you now because whoever gets the job has got to go shopping for the costumes because we start filming Monday. This is how close it was. And he said, at this time, we're going to go with Will for Jambo. And even now, I just got a rush of adrenaline up my body from that feeling because it's still in me, that feeling. Overwhelming. And obviously, I couldn't just blow up because he'd not got the job. So I shook his hand and she said to me, you can go now. And I just screamed. I was crying. I dropped to my knees. I was like, can I call me mum? Call me mum. I've got the job. And this, honestly, I've got goosebumps just saying it. Because I knew at that moment, my dreams were achievable. And that my life was going to change from that moment.
So we spoke in the car yesterday and you were telling me a situation about fate and things happening for a reason and about the minibus. But if you didn't bleach your hair, things could have been so different, you know? It's one of those, it's kind of really special when you think of it in that way.
It's crazy. I mean, I can't say this any other way, but I always believed that this is something I was going to do. And no one would have, I mean, listen, the amount of people and teachers at school told me I was going to be nothing. The amount of, I mean, they gave up on me at school because I was quite a lively character. They just said I was a waste of space. And I even told the careers officer when I went in, like, what do you want to do for a living? I said, I want to be an actor. And they said, well, you can't do that. So we're going to put you down as a mechanic. So they put me on work experience in a garage. So they just said, you can't do this. Because no one does it, you know, the area we came from, and it was a working class council estate area. So they just they crushed my dreams, you know what I mean? And as a kid, that wasn't good, you know. But I had to support my family, obviously. But when you're young, all you need is someone to believe in you, really. But the inside me, there was this burning feeling that I'll prove you all wrong. I'll prove you all wrong. And even in class, they threw me out of the exams. They made me sit at the back of the class with headphones on so I wouldn't talk to anybody. So they give up on me. They just said, listen, you can stay in the class, but you got to sit at the back and put headphones on and don't listen. So they give up on me to be anything in life. So I wasn't allowed to learn. Just because I had energy, they didn't try to understand that energy and go, maybe there's a different way Will has to learn, or understand him. If someone tells me you're a waste of space when you're a kid, you listen to that and you go, well, I'll show you then, and I'll just be a clown. And I just wanted to make people laugh. What's funny is that same school, after I did Hollyoaks and everything else had gone on in my career, they called me up and said, can you come in and give awards away to the highest achiever in drama? And I thought, you cheeky.
Yeah.
You told me I'd be nothing. And then they made an award named after me called the Will Mellor Award that they gave out to drama students. I went in. It's not the kids' fault. And I told them the same story. I said, these lot told me I'd be nothing. I said, so you can't wait on other people to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. You don't have to be an actor or a singer but whatever it is inside you that you want to do, believe in yourself. Don't let people put you off it. Don't let people say, well, you can't do that. No, you can. Doesn't matter where you come from. You can do it. And I wanted to say that to kids. I wanted to be that kid where if I was there, then in them days, I'd loved someone else just come in who'd done it from that school to talk to me, because it would have given me even more confidence. I was lucky enough that I was born with something inside me that was not going to put me off my dream of what I wanted to do. But it just shows you that teachers have a power on children, and if it's done right, it can be really positive. But done wrong, you can kill people's dreams. And it was a proud moment, actually, to go back to that school with an award named after me, considering they all told me I'd be nothing. Not all. The headmaster kept me in school and said, I believe in you. And he was the one. He said, I believe that you're going to do something, but you just need to let other people learn. I was like, I get it now. No problem. And he came to see me in a musical, Mr. Nolan. I was live on stage, and I got back to my dressing room. There was a letter there, and he said, I knew I was right to believe in you.
Oh,
and I
wow.
broke down because it's like full circle. It's like, shit, man. He'd been to see me in that show.
And he left you that
He left
note?
me a note, said I knew I was right to believe in you. And I was the lead in a musical in Manchester.
Have you actually met him since?
No. I've mentioned it a lot in interviews about him, because of all the teachers that wanted to get rid of me, he was the headmaster, and he kept me in school because they would have got me out of school. And he was like, listen, I understand you're different. I get it, but you just can't be, when people are trying to learn, you can't be messing around, because they want something different than you. And when someone sits you down and talks to you like that, no problem. It's when parents, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. You don't react well to that.
Yeah.
So.
That's such a special story. And obviously Hollyoaks, like you were saying then, that was the kind of moment for you where everything changed and you became that household name, it's fair to say. And Jambo, like a lot of your characters, very lovable. You know, people gravitate. They love the character. You have a way of just playing that kind of cheeky chap, you know? So how did you deal with that side of things where the fame kicked in and you were becoming
tough? I dealt with it. To be honest, I loved it because who wouldn't? 19 years old. It literally went from, I could walk down the street and normally I'd get on buses going to this, you know, as a normal kid, to then there was a picture of my face on bus stops and on buses and magazines because they wanted to promote this show.
Yeah.
To then schoolgirls chasing me down the street and, you know, because it was a teenage show and people shouting things at you, not always positive. And that's what I struggled with. I remember going out with some of the boys from Hollyoaks and, you know, we were young. So, yeah, it was great for us. You know what I mean? It's like, why enjoy it? You're supposed to enjoy it. I couldn't deal with people coming up and calling me a prick and a wanker or whatever they do. I mean, I've had that quite a lot when I was younger then in that Hollyoaks. Lads would come over and go, you the lads at Hollyoaks? Yeah, fucking asshole. You know what I mean? To your face. And I come from an area where you don't get away with that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't deal with that. I was like, I'm not letting him get away with that. And he's like, no, but when I'm telling you now, you can't do anything. And when who says you can't? What do you mean you can't? I can just let him come up and say that to me or come and insult me. I can't have that. I just couldn't deal with that. I ended up, because I got into a few scuffles, thinking I can't go on like that. I either don't go out or I go out and deal with it. So then the lads from Hollyoaks sat me down and just went, listen, we can't be out with you because I was reacting and they said, we can't, we're going to get this and we don't want to be having skirmishes all the time. So and it killed me that I was like, well, I'm trying to protect us here. You know what I mean? We can't have people come and just insult us. And then I realised you've just got to, when you go into a place, I found a way of reading the place to go, is this going to go well? You know what I mean? People start recognising you because what it usually be is a girl would recognise you when you was in them days, come over, have a picture or sign something, and then the boyfriend would get jealous and then would have a go at you. That's usually how it goes, what it did do back in the day, not so much anymore. And then, so I just, you know, you'd read the situation and go, I'm going to go somewhere else because this could be ugly in here. Luckily enough, over time, I played characters that men really liked, like Gaz from Two Pints and stuff. So now blokes come over more than women, which is great because I can relax a bit more. But back in the day when you're in a teen soap and girls give you attention, there's always the boys that want to either get jealous or they want to put you down and they want to do it publicly. And I struggled with that. But still, it was never going to deter me from this feeling I had that I'm doing it. I'm doing this thing that I dreamt about as a kid. I'm doing it. It's incredible. And to still be sat here talking to you now and still doing it at 49 years old it's incredible. And I'm still really grateful for the fact that people still want to see me do what I do.
You know, obviously with the show, it was so popular and it was, especially at that time, it was the biggest when Hollyoaks was. Why did you step away from the show? Because the character was popular, it was going so well. So what at that time made you say, I've done a few years, I'm going to move on to something else?
Again, I just followed my gut. I was worried at a time that if I want to do this for the rest of my life or for as long as I possibly can, I can't stay in Hollyoaks because I'm known as this character, Jambo, bleached blonde hair, zany character, great character. People loved him, loved playing it. I was having an amazing life. I suddenly had some money in my pocket. But I just thought, I'm going to be typecast or B at some point, this is going to go to 3, 4, 5 times a week. And then you become a household name as that character. So then it would make it even harder for me to go and play anything else. Because they'll go, well, and I realised I'd seen people do it before, that they'd leave soaps after being in it for 10 years and they can't get work because you're too seen as that character. So I made a leap of faith and I just thought, I'm going to go and I'm going to see if I can put myself out there to do other parts, to show there's more to me than just this, and also to try and get longevity because I don't want this to end. My mum and dad went mad at me. They said, are you mad? You've just got your big break. You've been here 2 years. And I was like, I feel like I have to do it. And it was something inside me. It wasn't like a decision. It was something that came from me within. I had a feeling that I had to go and do do the thing that people were telling me not to do, and that was to stay in it. And my mum and dad was like, you might not work again. And I thought, well, I have to take that risk.
It paid off.
And it paid off, yeah. But, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but following your gut has done me well in life. Yeah, everybody knows what's going on. People can be talking, but you always know what you want to do. I would say would follow that.
And you went on to do music as well. You released music.
That was straight after that.
Yeah. And I was listening because you covered Leo Sayers' When I Need You. And it's a lovely song. But I wanted to ask, were you given that song, or did you always have was it a song you loved and you wanted to record it?
It was from Hollyoaks because Jambo had a girlfriend called Dawn, and she had cancer. And she died on a boat in his arms. And Jambo lost his head, and the song played. And then Pete Waterman got on the phone, because it was the time when a lot of soap stars were releasing music. There was quite a few, Jason Donovan and Kylie Minogue. They were in Neighbours, obviously. And then there was other people from EastEnders. A couple of people had released songs, and Michelle Gale had released a song. She was in EastEnders. So it was that period, and music has been a massive part of my life. I mean, I love singing, and I taught myself piano when I was 11, 12. My dad got an old piano in the house from a pub that was being knocked down, and he stripped it down and just varnished it, and it looked really nice, and we had it tuned, and I sat down and I could play it. And I'll never be able to understand that. Not I could just go and play, but I knew chords, and I never sat at a piano. I mean, at school I used to go, merrily we rolled along and play the melodies, and that did nothing for me. I could play chords, and then I wrote a song the first day I put my hands on it. So I realised that music was something that was in me as well. And then I just kept playing and playing until I could get better and better. And I just play by ear. I don't read music, but play songs and whatever else and write music. But the singing thing was another dream of mine, and I saw an opportunity and I took it. Wasn't the greatest experience. It was an amazing experience for a short period, and then I suddenly realised the music industry is a different game.
Did you ever meet Leo Sayer, or did he talk to you? What did he say about, because that's his kind of baby, you've gone along and you've recorded it?
He loved it. He got revamped. He was on all the interviews. I'd be on an interview and they said, tomorrow we got Leo Sayer. I went, he's everywhere. He's like my shadow. But it was great because I grew up with Leo Sayer in the car. We used to have cassettes in the car. So my dad would have, his Ford Passat or whatever, his Sierra. And we'd be going on a long trip and he'd have Leo Sayer on cassette, and we'd all sing along. And then it was funny that I released it. It went to number 5 in the charts. I did Top of the Pops. And I met Leo Sayer. But I will tell you this. That was the first time that my feet left the ground. I started to get carried away a little bit. And I wasn't proud of it, but I think it was too much for me. And I had too many people around me that weren't my friends, that were basically working for the record company. I had stylists. I had a driver outside my hotel. I had fans camped outside my hotel. And every day you come out to that, your reality starts to leave. So the kid that was on the estate, it was me, suddenly became this pop star, actor, pop star thing. And I forgot who I was for a bit. And it wasn't until, because I thought I was fine, but obviously I was being different around people. And this woman who I knew, she did my first ever interview when I did Hollyoaks. And I respected her, and I was in the pub, and she just said, "What's happened to you?" She said, "You've lost it, you." She said, "You used to be such a nice person," and I thought, "Shit, I've gone." I'd become what I hated, and that was a bit up my own ass. Thought the sun shined out my ass, sort of thing, and thought I was this big, all that. And that was because I'd lost touch with my base, and I was just with people who said I was great all the time. Yes men and record company people, you're amazing, Top of the Pops was being chauffeured around. It wasn't real, and I became not real. And I pride myself on how real I am as a person. And that moment, I left London. I went back to my mum's and I said, I need to come home. Just back to reality. And then got myself back grounded. I did another song and then left the music industry, got out of it.
Wow. So that actually had a negative impact on you as a person in the sense of who you are, the music industry.
Yeah, but just also I realised that it was fake, and it was about, I was a product, I wanted to write music. I thought I'm always thinking long term. I'm not thinking I'll have a hit there, then I'll go on to this. And I'm thinking once I'm in the music industry, I'm thinking, right, how long can I stay in this? Because I've got this cover song, and I wrote the B-side, and in them days, if you wrote the B-side, you got 50-50 split. So because Pete Waltman and anybody else in the music industry that powerful, they control the music. They don't really want you as a writer, because if you're a writer, you're taking royalties. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd wrote loads of songs, and I've been working with it in the studio. And he just came in one day and went, "Them songs aren't right," and not even listened to one of them. They're not right. I've got your next single here, and it didn't do as well as the first one. And if you don't do as well as the first one, to number 19, first one was number 5. That's like you're on the slide, and the record. And then, I was like, this isn't what I expected it to be. And then got out, and then went and did a musical, because I had to take myself out of the public eye for a bit, because people were confused. Are you an actor? Are you a singer? You know, they like to put you in a box. And I've always sort of said, I'm an entertainer. I want to do more than just one thing. And that was that. That was the end of the music industry for that point. What
musical did you do?
It was a musical called Oh What a Night. It was a 70s musical with Kid Creole. He was Kid Creole and the Coconuts, and he was like a 70s star. And he was like the narrator, DJ, sort of compere of the show lead. And it was a story about me, as this guy from Manchester had gone to New York or whatever it was in America, 1976, in the summer of 76, and to try and get a record deal. And I go into this club called the Disco Inferno, meet these dancers, and end up working there. And then they come to this, a casting agent comes to this club and says, "We're looking to cast for this new film," which was Saturday Night Fever. That's what it was, like the prequel to it. All the songs from the 70s was in it, all them classic hits. Great show. And the first day of rehearsals, saw this beautiful lady, and that's ended up being my wife.
Wow. And you now have your, like a theatre school together?
Yeah, performing arts school. My wife set that up because she's a dancer. When I met her, she was a dancer all them years ago. And I knew from the first moment I saw her, I was like, there's something different there. And then you're working together, that can have its ups and downs, you know what I mean? I didn't know if it was going to be a long-term thing, and then it's turned out that we have 2 children, and we've been together 26, 27 years now. As I say, it's our 18-year anniversary this weekend. But the musical was, again, another thing for me to do, to learn a new skill, because you're on stage every night, so it's singing, dancing, and I'm not a trained dancer, but, you know, I'll have a go, and I learned, and it was an amazing experience, live audiences, and I think it was the highest rated show in Manchester at the time. It sold out every night. It was a real feel-good 70s musical back in the day. And the rest is history.
I got to say, I do like your cover of ABBA, Does Your Mother Know? It came on my Spotify, and it's really good.
That was a weird experience. They asked me to do this show. They said, "We're doing an ABBA show." I was like, right. They said, "We want you to be in it." And it was on TV, but we had to record some songs, and there was some group numbers and all that sort of stuff. And you know me, I was like, what the hell, have a go with that. Everything you do is another little piece to your puzzle, you know what I mean? And you learn something. And then I recorded the song "Does Your Mother Know?" And I enjoyed doing it, but then we had to do it on telly. And it wasn't live, but it was recorded. I was live in front of a live audience, and I remember Sheridan Smith was in the audience. It was obviously a very good friend of mine. It was when I was doing 2 Pints of Lager. She was very close, and Jeremy Edwards was in the audience and all that. And I came out, and I'm singing the song, and then the next verse comes, and I completely forgot the words. Camera there, camera there, camera there, full audience, on their feet dancing, blank.
Wow.
And I went, "I forgot the fucking words." And the crowd went, and the court. I didn't know what else to say. I was like, "Sorry, forgot the words." So when I came back out, they put the words on the monitor for me. It was just weird. It was like, do you know when you get that cold shiver? Because I was a bit cocky. I was like giving it I was giving it the full beans. And then I forgot the words. But then I did that song, and it's you can download it.
I mean, before we go to 2 Pints of Lager, obviously Casualty, another show.
Massive,
it was just going for you, and you were on the show for a long time, a lot of episodes.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah.
So how did that come about, and did it come at the right time for you?
Yeah, well, do you know what it was? I was trying to get dramas right, and the thing is, in our industry, you will understand is, it's okay you believe in. I'm a good actor. If I do, Jambo's that character, and this comedy as an element to timing. If you're not good with your timing, you'll never get your comedy right. So timing teaches you everything. Acting's all about timing. So if you can do that, and drama, you can easily fall straight into that. Some people look down on comedy actors thinking, well, that's easier than drama, but it's completely different. It's the opposite, actually. Comedy's harder because not everyone can do comedy. You have to have timing and you have to be able to deliver a line and you have to be confident with all these different things. So for me to get into drama, Casualty was a great bridge because it was, even though it's a drama, it's like a soap drama because it's on quite a lot. You know, sometimes you get 8-part dramas, 6-part dramas, 4-part dramas. But that was on, 40 weeks of the year. It was on every weekend. When I was a kid, I grew up watching it. And we used to play the game like most people do. Guess what's going to happen? Because there'd be someone up a ladder painting. There'll be someone carrying a sheet of glass. And you'd be like, right, who's getting injured? Who's dying? What's going to happen here? So I watched it. And then I went for this casting and I got the job. And I remember calling my mum going, I'm in Casualty, Mum, can you believe it? And he was like, geez, you're going to meet Charlie Fairhead. Because he'd been in it for years. Yeah. And it was, again, that feeling of somebody going, and I thought it was a chance for me to do something a bit more serious, but try and bridge that gap into, again, longevity, more castings, being seen in different lights, because it's all right, you believe in yourself, but you need other people, casting directors to believe in you. To even get in the room, they need to go, oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
And then once you get in the room, it's on you. And I used to say to my agent, you just get me in that room and I'll get the job. Just get me in the room.
And do you know what I love about Casualty? It's the most dramatic show. The theme tune itself, as soon as you hear that, you think, right, I'm gonna sit. And I mean, you died in an explosion?
Yeah, on my wedding day. That's why it's like a soap drama. Weddings never go well on telly, do they? Never get married on telly. It never goes well. It was, my dad had got back into my life. I was a receptionist on Casualty, which was a good thing because I never had to deal with any of them big, long words. You know, you're having resource and surgery.
Operations.
It's esophageal varices. No chance. Take number 20, I still wouldn't have got it out. So so I was a receptionist and obviously I had relationships and stuff. And I was in it for 2.5 years, I think. 24 to 27, I came out at 27. I can't remember what I was saying now. What was I saying?
Receptionist,
that was it. Oh, and my dad came back into my life, the character's dad, and he was a bit of a wrong 'un. Got him involved with some bad people and ripped off the wrong person, and that person had come for his money. My dad had done one, so he kidnapped my wife, and I had to go, basically on our wedding day, kidnapped her, took her on his boat, sent pictures. I had to go and find her until he got his money, basically. And he shot me in the knee, set the boat on fire and got off the boat. And I basically, with one leg, she carried me to the boat. She said, come on, we can get off together. And I realised I was not going to be able to get off the boat and swim because my knee had been shot. So I pushed her off and I went, as if to say, save yourself. She swam to shore and I fell back on the boat and the boat blew up.
Was it your decision to leave the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you don't want to stay in too long. It was another thing of you could stay in there too long, and also I'd done enough storylines. I'd had emotional storylines. I'd done action stuff. I'd done to show what I wanted to do to any casting directors out there or my agent and stuff. So I'd done it. And I thought, the longer you stay as a receptionist, you're just going to end up being in the background a lot of the stuff. So again, it's about timing. You got to feel that timing, and the timing was right. Two series, I think it was 2.5 series I'd done, and I came out. And the funny thing was, the next week I was doing Fame Academy for Comic Relief. It was a comic relief thing they did, and it was live every night, and I had to sing every night live on telly with Ruby Wax and John Thompson and.
Yeah, you won, didn't you?
I won it, yeah.
That's a big thing.
That was the most fame I'd ever felt in my life, was when I came out of that, because we was locked in a house. We were locked in a house. It was live on TV every night. It was getting 10 to 15 million audience viewers every night. And what it was Fame Academy was a show back in the day where it was for general public, but for songwriters and singers. You go and you'd stay in this house, and then they'd want to go every week until you had a winner, like X Factor or British Got Talent, all that sort of stuff. Well, they did a celebrity one, and I was on me and Ulrika Johnson and Ruby Wax, John Thompson and Kwame Kwame, who was in he was in Casualty with me, actually. And there was Lots of people. I mean, it was amazing, really. And then we had to sing different songs every night, and then the audience at home would vote, and then whoever had the least votes, they went home. And it was on every night. It was only in there a week, but we never left that house. So it was a massive mansion. You'd record it, you'd sleep in the house, so all your day-to-day was filmed, so you could watch us, stream us live. You could watch us all day just in the house doing our thing. I came out, and the fame thing was different level. People, heroes of mine at the BBC walking towards me going, Will, you've done so well. I was like, see who that was? It was like Alan Rickman and, massive people, Lenny Henry and Dawn French come up hugging me. And I was just like, and then there was the final, Comic Relief Night. It was the final. It was me and Ruby Wax were in the final. We had to sing, I sang Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me or something, and she sang Skater Boy. And then they said, and the winner is, and I won, confetti cannons. And Hugh Grant comes out with an award and goes, congratulations, Will. It's like, my mum's in the audience when it's Hugh Grant. It's just, saying it out loud, it's just from a little kid on an estate with a dream. And I'm on stage. And Hugh Grant's giving me an award. And it was crazy. But, it's a strange thing. Fame is a strange thing because it's something you don't own. Fame, it goes up and it goes down and whatever else. You can never believe or never feel that fame is something you have. It's something that doesn't last. So don't chase it, is what I'd say to anybody out there who's in this industry, because it's in the eye of the beholder. There'll be some people that have never seen me before in anything. So I'm not famous to them. I'm just me. But then there's some people who've watched everything I've been in, and I'm hugely famous to them. So it's in the eye of the beholder. And that is how I've dealt with it for a long time now. And it just means that I'm just me, and I can get on my day-to-day routine, and I don't think about it. And if people come up to me, not a problem. But any advice to anybody would be, don't chase fame because you'll never catch it. Some people go, I want to be famous. It's like, you need to have a job. You need to be an actor or a singer, or if you want to be in this industry, you need to have a reason to do something, because fame isn't real and you'll never catch it. And it'll catch you in the end because you'll become someone you don't want to be. I
mean, it definitely caught you in a sense of 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, because that really is, when you think of British sitcoms, it's up there. It's got such an iconic status now. People talk about it all the time.
Every day still.
It's, I guess for you, when you first started, you never anticipated that it would then become what it has, which is up there with the royal families, the Only Fools and Horses. It really is. It
caught fire with a cult audience, because when we started doing 2 Pints, I think I was 22, 23. I was doing the music. I was doing the musical, like I mentioned, and I got an audition for this. Well, the writer said she wanted me, but didn't tell me. So I went in for this audition like I would any other, just thinking, right, get it right. I know how to play this character. And Gaz was just a great character. I was reading it thinking, I know exactly what I need to do. What to do with this? He's been in here all along, Gaz. I just got to bring him out. You know what I mean? It was just a dumbed down version of myself at that age. You know what I mean? I was just, and obviously, we got the job, and me and Ralph was the first to be cast. I think Ralph and then me. But the funny thing about that is Sheridan Smith wasn't in it originally, and neither was Natalie Casey. So Donna, Janet and Louise were all different people when we read. It was me and Ralph, and there was these other girls. And then they cast them. So when we had to do the reading, we had the BBC sit around a table, and we had to do it with a script in front of them for them to commission it. So it wasn't a series yet. We had to sort of go, this is what it's going to be. And they went, okay, we'll give you 10 episodes or 9 episodes. That's how it was. And there was other girls reading in, and then they cast Sheridan and Natalie and Louise, well, Catherine Drysdale, and the rest is history. But the thing is about it is, when it went out, we were saying things that no other comedy was saying. There was nobody being represented. These people at this age, working class people in Runcorn, spending a lot of time in the pub, smoking, drinking, saying things that no one else was saying, porn mags all over Gaz's walls. People were like, what is this? But we were like going, can we say this? was like, yeah, we get away with this. Live audience. So we had to go and perform. All the sets was like there. And then the audience was there, 250, 300 people. And then each set was in front, so the cameras would be wheeled down and we'd rehearse all week and then we'd record it on a Friday night in front of the audience, dress run, record it. And the first series, obviously, no one knew what it was. So we would have people in that audience that they weren't ready. You know, they'd be like, old people knitting and boiled sweets, like, what time are they on, Joan? What is it, do you know? I don't know what it is. And we'd be thinking, shit, they're not ready for this. And then there'd be some that were younger and you think they'll get it. People like, bits of laughter and it was like, is it going to work? But then it found its audience. And then once it got popular, the queues down Wood Lane at BBC for people just to get in, there was hundreds and hundreds of people being turned away to see it being recorded live. It just first come, first served. So you'd have to get there early, join the queue. And it just took off. And the press hated it. They slaughtered it. We weren't even invited to the Comedy Awards, never mind nominated. You couldn't even vote for us. So you get the long list of comedies. Two Pints wasn't even in it because they were like, it didn't suit the standards of the industry. There was like, it's a bit lowbrow, working class lowbrow, and they looked down on it. And that shows you exactly what it's about sometimes in this. It's like the ones they go, that can win, that can't. I mean, they shouldn't get the right to choose because the people who are paying their TV license or the people who sat on watching it, they should get a chance to vote for whatever they want. Yeah. And they controlled that vote because you couldn't even vote for Two Pints. You couldn't even vote for it. It wasn't even allowed. It wasn't even a long list. It was a joke. But because of that, it got a cult following of Two Pints fans. And that is what carried it for the 10 series it did. And that is what now I still, even on the way here today, I stopped off at the shop. You eat gas out of Two Pints, gas all me. Still, because it's still on now and it's repeated now. And it's still the number one show on BBC Three now being repeated. It's still their highest rated now. The repeats of it, that shows you the cult audience it had.
That's mad that you couldn't even get, because when I was doing the research, I was expecting to see what it was nominated for,
nothing,
what it won, and nothing. I was like, why is there no section? That's crazy.
Nothing. They just did. It was too lowbrow for them. And also, the royal family came along and they went, audience sitcom is finished because the royal family, The Office was all single camera, no laughter track, no audience laughter. Yeah. So what was cool and what wasn't sort of tilted towards the royal family, and the royal family won everything. So Two Pints, people was like, it's going to get left behind, but it kept its core audience. And the amount of people, I can't tell you. It was so nice to hear, though. They come up and they say, I just want to say thanks for Two Pints because I bonded with my dad through that show and he's not around anymore. Or the amount of times I would sit and watch Two Pints when I felt really low and it brought me out of it, or just, it was something you could watch and just enjoy and forget your troubles for a little bit. And I think representing people like we were representing wasn't being represented enough. So I really am proud of that show. And do you know what? If they said yes to another script, I'd do it, because we got a script called Two Pints Last Orders. Susan Nixon, the original writer, wrote it. It's just basically a draft copy of what it's going to be. Me and Ralph said, yeah, we'll do it. And it was going to be Where Are They Now? And the BBC said no. Turn it down. And I know just from the public's response of how many people on a daily message me, please bring it back, please do one more, please do a special, how big it would be. BBC said, no, we don't want to revisit it. So if we do it, we probably have to make it ourselves.
Could Netflix get it?
It's a question between the BBC and Susan Nixon because I think they own it.
Oh,
but we could do it as a streamer, which is a shame because I'd do it for the people that have supported it and say, do it for them. Thank them. That's why I set up the podcast I do with Ralph, because we wanted to give them something. So we do a podcast called Two Pints with Will and Ralph, where we talk about everything in the old days. You just said then about, the show, people would bond with their dads. It had an ability to talk to people. For you as an actor, do you sometimes sit and reflect and think, wow, I have the ability to actually make a difference or tell a story for someone or just, create relationships with people? Because that happens. And I don't think about it until people tell me. And then I have moments of where you have to in life step away, step off the bus for a bit. You know what I mean? If you just, the world will pass you by and life goes by. You got to step off the bus every now and then and just look at it and just stop. Just go, man, look what you've done here. You know, I'm unbelievably grateful for everything that's happened in my life with my work as well and everything else that's gone on with it. But you need to step off and appreciate it sometimes, because it's when you're in it, you don't see it, you're just doing it. And I'm looking for the next thing. I'm keeping my foot in that door. What's next? What else do I want to do and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes you need to stop and just go, man, this has been an unbelievable thing that's happened here. You know what I mean? To still be going now at 49 and doing stuff that I'm doing. And you have to remember that kid. I always remember that kid with the dream, because I don't understand people that forget that. You know, where they dream about making it and then they make it and then they forget who they are and they're not very nice to people, or people come up, I don't like people coming to me in the street, or I don't do pictures. It's like, who are you? Remember the kid with the dream, you know. I've said this before, and I know we've spoke about it when we was on the way here, is handling people, you know, who come up to you and speak to you in the street. I think it's an amazing experience, because you have an opportunity, and it's like what you just said, to make someone's day. And that's an amazing ability to have it. They come up and they're like, oh, I love doing that. I can have a picture or whatever. You have 30 seconds or a minute with that person. Why not make it a positive minute? Just give them your time for that minute. If you can, then no, go away. I don't do it. No, don't. And I know people that have done that, because that person will remember that forever.
Yeah.
Why not make it a positive moment? And I just think, don't do it. Don't do it. If that's how you're going to be, don't do it. Because, you know, the reason why we get to do what we do is because people watch us doing it. But if they didn't watch, we wouldn't be doing it. So you got to be. I'm very grateful for the support I've got. And 99% of the time, it's real positive people just wanting to say hello, saying thank you for this memory, or I watched you in that, I loved it, or whatever. It's like, I'm the lucky one. People go, I bet you hate it. It's like, you're joking. I'm the lucky one. Yeah. I'm living my dream here. Yeah. So never forget that kid, the 12-year-old kid that I was dreaming from a young age. They used to close his eyes and go, please, one day, let this happen.
And it did. We're going to talk about the podcast a little bit later, but obviously you and Ralph, very good friends. The podcast there's so much. It's not just laughter and comedy. There's a lot of some serious topics. But do you keep in touch with the rest of the cast? Are you as close to everyone else?
No, which is a shame. We was for a while. Obviously, we kept filming, and Ralph left Two Pints after, I think, 6 series. And I think Ralph regrets that now. He said it openly, actually. I think he thought, he was listening to a lot what the papers and press was saying, that the royal family is a new thing and audience comedy's dying. He thought he was going to go down with the show. He thought the show was sinking. And he's like, I regret that now. But, you know, decisions you make. But me and Ralph have kept in touch. Sheridan, I spoke to her for a bit, and her career's gone where it's gone, and she's doing amazingly well. I wish them all well. I spoke to Natalie not so long ago, but very rarely. Oh. And it's a shame, because we, you know, for a long time, we were like family, you know what I mean? At work, we were there every week in rehearsals, and, you know, it was one of the best times I've ever had on set was doing Two Pints. The laughs we had, and the age we was at, because I hadn't had kids then. I was still free, you know what I mean, of ties. So we go out after the show on a Friday, we go straight into London and we go out and have a drink, and it was just a great time. But yeah, we don't really keep in contact that much.
Would you like to? Is that something? Are you the person that, if you could go out for a meal, for example, and catch up, would you like that?
I mean, why wouldn't I? But, you know, everyone's life takes over. Yeah. You know, my life, I mean, I've had kids now. My son's 21 and my daughter's 17. So I've had, you know, the time with your friends and the times to do that was then, you know what I mean? And obviously now, if they said, let's get together for a reunion, I'd be the first there. No problem. Why wouldn't I be? And if we did do a Two Pints Last Orders, I wouldn't be sure that they'd do it. I know me and Ralph would, but I wouldn't be 100% that the girls would do it.
Be a shame, because I know Sheridan did Gavin and Stacey, you know, the final episode, and a lot of people didn't think she'd go back to that. Yeah. So fingers crossed.
Well, listen, I don't know. As I say, I don't know.
My pray for everyone.
My number's not changed, and they've got it. So I'm here if they need me.
With the podcast, how did that all come about? And, you know, how did it start with you and Ralph?
It was a conversation I was having for a while about people kept messaging me saying, please bring 2 Pints back. And I felt a bit guilty. I was like, it's not in my hands. I can't sort of promise something I can't deliver, you know. And so I got hold of Ralph and I said, listen, we should do something because we're up for doing something. Why don't we do a podcast? We'll call it 2 Pints with Will and Ralph. It's a little nod to the 2 Pints show. But we can talk about the old days, but then we can go into, as it grows, go into other subjects, and we can be ourselves, but like Gaz and Johnny, sat at a table. You know, we can have a couple of beers if we want and just chew the fat. People loved Gaz and Johnny's scenes, but we're being ourselves. So it was the timing again, you know, fate. It was lockdown. We started it and then lockdown kicked in, and lockdown made the podcast just go through the roof because people couldn't go out. They were in search of some form of entertainment. And the podcast was like going to your local pub with 2 mates so they could listen to our podcast or watch it and have a beer with us. We'd be like, right, let's have a beer, let's have a chat. And we talked about the old days. We played some games and we talked about loads of things that happened on the set, behind the scenes. But then we went into other subjects and other things. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And I think we're in season 5 now. I don't know. We've done 2 tours. We're about to do our 3rd tour. Sellout tours.
I know, big venues as well.
Yeah, this one's the biggest. We're a bit nervous about this one. But we just want to provide a night out for people. And that's what the podcast is. Podcast is a bit of escapism where everything's on the table. We have a right good laugh. But we do talk about mental health as well. I lost my dad in lockdown and I really struggled with it. And we spoke about it on the podcast because I thought a lot of people are going to be struggling. And, you know, if I can open up, it shows that talking can help. And it helped me. And the podcast helped me. And other people hopefully got solace from that and was like, yeah, talking helps. And it's okay not to be okay. And so it's got the legs to have a good laugh and be silly and be daft and be 2 blokes dicking about. But we can talk about serious stuff if we need to, you know. And if you're having a bad day, we can talk about that. And the podcast tours have just flown. And we just want to give people a good night out. Forget your problems for a bit. Come and see our show and we'll have a bit of fun.
I mean, you must get asked this a lot, but when we announced you were coming on the show, I was inundated with people asking me if we could ask you to tell the cat story.
All right.
Because a lot of people, they haven't watched the podcast, but would you be happy to tell the story?
Well, the cat story, I think I'm going to have some T-shirts printed because it's got that big. It went mental, just global. It was just crazy. True story, I had 2 Bengal cats, and Bengal cats, they're like leopards or tiger print sort of, and they're sort of quite wild, but the household cats, but they're a bit crazy. Anyway, I had a white one. It was like a white snow leopard, and they had like a tiger print one. Anyway, the white one, and I used to let them out, and people said don't let them out because people can steal these cats, because they're fully pedigree and they're expensive. Anyway, I had this cat Leo, and Leo was this leopard print one, and he kept leaving and coming back, but he'd go for a few days, and then the old people's home would ring up and say, "We've got your cat, Leo," and so I was like, because I had it tagged anyway. Picked the cat, and then this one time it had gone, and it had been gone for months, and I was like, "He's not coming back. That cat gone. Couldn't find him anywhere," and then I was away. And my wife FaceTimed me and she went, "Look who's just walked in." And it was Leo, the cat. And I was like, whoa. And I was coming home that day, and I came home and this person who worked at a vet said, "Oh, we've got your cat. It's been handed in." And it's going like that. And I was like, his voice sounds weird. Cat voice. His voice sounds weird. So I said, "I'll take it to the vets. He might have been stuck in a barn or something, or you're not been locked in a garage." So I took the cat to the vets, and they said, "It's got cancer of the throat." So I said, "No, we've just got it back. It's been gone from my daughter's over the moon. She's crying." And he said, "No, listen, there's nothing we can do. It's going to have to be put down." No. So anyway, I go home, tell my daughter, she's crying, and I said, "Can we just have one more day with this cat?" Anyway, I get it in there and I take it to the vets. I'm crying. I was because it was looking at this cat. And it's like it knew. So Leo goes in. I have to get sent to the relatives' room because I'm crying. I come out, empty box. You have to go in with this empty box, the cat carrier. And I come home and my daughter's crying and my son's there. Anyway, 2 weeks goes by and there's a knock at the door and they said, your cat's been run over. I said, it hasn't. It's on my mantelpiece. I've got its ashes here. They went, no, we've scanned the collar. It's your address. Your cat's been run over. I said, well, who the fuck's on the mantel? Who have I put down then on my mantelpiece? And I went out and it was my cat, Leo. But the other one looked exactly the same. So I put someone else's fucking cat down. And my daughter's going, we've got Leo back. And I was like, hang on. I've got these ashes and I've got, but who's this? So then the cat's broke its hip. I take it in. They said, yeah, this is your cat. And the other cat had a collar, a thing on it, but it had been encrypted. They said it must have been damaged wherever it's been. So that's why they guessed it was mine, because they'd seen my cat and it looked exactly the same. So I've killed someone else's cat, and then I've got my cat. They said it's going to be thousands because it's... And my daughter's going, please, Dad, we've got another chance. Leo's back alive. So I had to pay thousands in vet bills. And I had to put it in this cage so it couldn't stand up properly. Got it fixed. Kids left the window open, jumped out the window, and I've never seen the cat since.
Oh,
I've got no cat, $5,000 down, and I've got someone else's dead cat's ashes on my mantelpiece that I don't even know whose it is. And I can't throw it out because it's a dead cat.
They could make that into an actual comedy drama.
It's true story, I'm telling you now. People said, you made up. It's like, you can't make it up. And now, I'll tell you, if I saw that cat, I'd kill it myself, my cat. Because it cost me $1,000, it's gone. No, I wouldn't, obviously. But the cat, the long story is I've got a dead cat who's on ashes on my mantelpiece. I don't know whose it is. And the cat that I got fixed, that was my cat, has left. And now I've not seen it since.
Has anyone been in touch saying, look, that's my cat?
I think they did it on purpose. I think they wanted... That cat's got cancer. Will pay for it. I had to pay to have it put down. I've got to pay for the ashes. You know what they're like? Do you want this urn? It's a bit more expensive, but this says how much you love the cat and all that. I fell for all that. Paid for it all. I can't throw it out, though. I walk past it every day and I don't know whose cat it is.
That is unbelievable. I love that.
True story.
Obviously the cat's called Leo. That's nothing to do with Leo Sayer.
No, because Leo the lion, that was what it was. He looked like a lion, that was all, because he had leopard print. And the Bengal cats do look very, very similar, so it wasn't like, I just went, I'll put that cat down. It had cancer. People said, how dare you? It's not funny. I was like, no, the cat got put down because it had cancer of the throat. I didn't just kill the cat. I didn't just go, I'll kill it. The vet said, listen, if I was you, this is what you're going to have done. It's in its throat. And I was crying, it broke my heart. I was crying over someone else's cat, not even my cat. No wonder the thing is, I was thinking, why is this cat? The cat was like that. It's like, who's these people? We didn't even know who we were. No wonder he was going mad.
That is honestly probably the funniest story.
Yeah.
And that needs to be put into a show.
It was, I think we're going to get some T-shirts printed going. Is this your cat with an urn? Sell them on my website.
I was speaking briefly yesterday to you, but one of my favourite shows, genuinely, is Line of Duty. Yep. I love it. It's gripping. The stories are just incredible. And of course, you were on the show in Series 3, I think.
Yeah, Series 3, yeah. Rob Kennedy, I think it was called.
Yeah. How did that opportunity come about? Was it something you were asked to audition, or at that point, did they just come to you and say, look, we got a part?
No. It's seldom, really, you get offered parts. I'll go into it in a bit, but the... Line of Duty, I hadn't seen. My agent was going mad. Listen, Line of Duty's come. There's a part in it. You got to go up and cast for it. And I was like, "Is it good?" He said, "Oh, it's fantastic." And I was like, "Oh, I hadn't seen it." And it was Series 3. And I went in, and Jed Mercurio, the writer, and I think he directed some of them as well. Unbelievable writer. This man is a genius. He was behind the camera, and usually when you go for a casting. It's changed now since lockdown, which is such a shame. They're doing a lot of castings now where you're sending self-tapes. Yeah. And I hate self-tapes because, you got to set up the camera, you got to get the light. How do you want the shot, close, wide? And you have to have someone else read off. And you get one go at it, you're sending that tape. But there's so many ways you can play that scene and that character. There's, and being in the room, that's where I get the jobs. That's what I used to pride myself on. Like, I'll learn it loads of different ways and I'll think, well, I can do it that way. And I'll show them I can do it that way. And I can show I can be directed. And that's what they're casting usually. It's not just who can get the lines right. You know, it's showing that you can be, you know, you can be versatile with the character. Anyway, Jed's there, the cameraman's there, and then they're reading off and I'm doing these scenes. And I did it and Jed went, great. Can I give him the part now? And I went, I've got it. And they went, no, Jed, no, we have to calm down. We've got other people we need to see. And so he's like, oh, but he's perfect. And so I was like, great. And what I said, I think I've got it. I thought I answered my agent, I think I've got it. And he said, well, they got to see other people. So I said, well, and then I got the phone call, yeah, they're going to go with you for a part. And again, that feeling of just getting the job, you don't understand that. It's an amazing feeling. It doesn't matter how much work you've done, does it? You never, well, I don't know. I can only talk about from me and my own personal experiences, but I just feel overwhelmed with, I've still got it. Because you doubt yourself. You think that every job could be your last one. That's how I always think. That's why I don't get carried away with anything, because you think, well, that job could be my last. So you've got to stay hungry, but also don't get carried away with yourself. Don't think your shit don't stink. You know what I mean? You've got to keep grafting. And you've got, you know, there's always actors out there and there's great actors out there. And this is a very competitive market we're in, and we're self-employed. So if I don't work, I don't earn. So you've got to stay on it and don't, you know, believe that this is going to be forever. Keeps you hungry. So when I got that part, again, the feeling of, oh, I've got another one. You know what I mean? It's like, and this is a proper drama. You know what I mean? You know, I did Broadchurch as well, which was a massive part for me because Broadchurch was another weird character with David Tennant and Olivia Colman, who's Oscar winner. You know what I mean? It's just amazing to be a part of them. She wasn't then, but again, another part that they'd seen me for, and it was very different, and I really wanted to play it because I wanted to show that I could do it. And the director was like, yeah, I want Will for this. And they wasn't sure, and they cast me, and the writer just said when Will came in, he just portrayed everything that I wanted. And I wanted to show that I could do it. So again, you need somebody else to go, I believe in Will. Because if everyone puts you in a box and go, he just does comedy, you'll never do anything else. So it's okay me doing my job, but you need other people to believe in you as well. So it's a real ensemble for people who do this job that don't always think it's about you. It's about other people that taking a chance on you. Then you've got to deliver. So, you know, it's tough. But as I say, with Line of Duty, getting that job, again, was another big tick to go stay relevant, and also doing a big drama like that was massive. Great cast.
And I guess what you were saying then about the self-tapes, that's where it comes in with you kind of being in the room. You can kind of come into your own and then other people sit and go, he's right. But on a self-tape, that's probably more difficult.
Well, I get one go at it.
Yeah.
And I have my own, this, like I say, one scene, even one line, I could play one line probably 7, 8, 9, 10 different ways. One line, just by putting a pause here, pause there, a look in between the line. Do I look at you? Do I not look at you?
Yeah.
If I look away, it says something. If I look at you, it says something. You know, everything, all these little nuances of acting that you play with in the moment that makes things different, makes the scene or the line or the speech land different. The way you can do it. If you're doing a self-tape, I get one go at that. I get no direction. I get sent something. I do what I think. But what if they want it a different way? I don't get a chance. Whereas if I'm in the room, they'll go, it's all about it doing it this way. I go, yeah, I can do that. But I don't get that chance. So being in the room was always good for me. This self-tape world now is tough. It's a lottery.
With Line of Duty, it's one of those shows where, and it's for me the first in a long time, where you're on the edge of your seat, and when that, you know, the credits play and it goes into what's coming up, you're just hooked. And your series was so important because it kind of was really showing how many corrupt officers there were in Line of Duty. Danny Waldron, you know, he was a big part of that.
What I could say about what I loved about it when I read it was nobody's safe. Like the audience watching this, because there's a lot of recognisable faces in it. People had seen me in other stuff. They'd seen Danny Mays in a lot of stuff. And there's Leanne Best, who's done a lot of stuff. And when someone like that dies in episode 1, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Because you think, well, they're not going to go. They're regular. They're a big name. They're not going to kill them off. And if one of them dies, everyone's then thinking, well, anything's possible here. Yeah. That's what's good about Line of Duty. And I loved it. And I don't want to be a spoiler for anybody. And if you've not watched it, turn away now. But when I read that I died, because I thought, well, Danny Mays is dead in episode 1. Surely I'm in all the episodes. They hadn't sent me all. And I read episode 3 or 4 it was. And I was hanging. I'm thinking, well, I'm dead now. But again, I loved it because I thought no one's going to see that coming. If you catch people out in drama, that's what keeps you on the edge of the seat. Yeah. That's that feeling that you were explaining.
What's it like when you met everybody else? So all the other, because you had Adrian Dunbar, you got Vicky McClure, Martin. Was it kind of everyone close on the set? Did you get to spend much time?
Not really. Do you know what? It was strange because you're walking into their world. You got to remember they're a tight-knit community. And listen, they were fine. But we've got to remember the characters that we were playing as well, they were investigating us and all that. So it was quite good in a certain extent that we didn't have a lot together, because it's about corrupt police and corrupt officers and stuff like that, and they're on the other side. And sometimes I've read about this as well, and I think it was Master and Commander, I think it was on, where they had the crew, I think it was a Russell Crowe film, and they had the crew above deck and below deck, and they stayed in separate hotels, they kept separate, so they had that hierarchy feel on set. So even though it was acting, in real life, they kept them separate. And I think some people like that. It keeps it quite real. Obviously I met everybody. They were all fine. I met Martin, obviously, and Vicky McClure. I had more scenes with Vicky because she played sort of undercover. Yeah. So I had more stuff with her. But yeah, everyone was fine.
We were talking as we were coming in about your documentary series, and they are gripping because you see a lot of documentaries about police and cops, but never when it's the other side of when cops are doing wrong or when cops have killed. So how did that opportunity and your involvement within those documentaries come about?
They wanted, I love doing unscripted stuff. I love doing the acting, right? Don't get me wrong. But like you probably know now from doing this interview that I'm never satisfied with, oh, I've got this now, I'll stay here. I'm like, well, if I've got that, how do I get in there? And then if I get in there, I'll keep my foot in that door. How do I get in there? Because the one thing I need is, if this door closes, I've got another opportunity here to do something else, because I've got a family, I'm the breadwinner, and, you know, I don't rest on my laurels. I don't go, well, I'm all right, I'm comfortable. No, you're never comfortable. You're self-employed, which means if you don't work, you don't earn. Yeah. So I'm always looking for other opportunities and other things that I can do. And I love doing different things, and I love being myself. Not all actors do. A lot of actors do the acting because it's an escape from who they are, but I'm happy being me. So the unscripted side of things, doing documentaries where I'm being myself, I was really interested in doing that. And they wanted somebody to do these shows, cops who kill first, then cops gone bad. And I found it really interesting that we were shining a light on police who have killed, raped, smuggled, whatever it might be. And it was just after Sarah Everard had been raped and murdered by Wayne Couzens. And I remembered that case, and it was just like, there must have been red flags. There must have been something about him that people knew that they kept quiet. And then when they came on, I went, I want to do this. I'm passionate about it. I don't do things I'm not passionate about. I wouldn't say yes to any old job just for the money. I have to get out of bed and want to do it. I have to. If I can I've read scripts and gone, it's not for me. I don't feel it. You know, that's just how it is. Someone else would feel it. If I don't feel it, I can't do it. And that, I thought, there's something I've got to say about this. And also, they wanted somebody that was passionate about it, that wasn't just an interviewer, that wasn't just a presenter. They wanted somebody that felt it. Yeah. Because the questions and the things I was going to say was going to be from the heart. And we wanted to have that feel of me trying to understand it, asking these questions, but having an honest opinion of how it makes me feel, how disgusted I am by it. Why did nobody say anything when they knew Wayne Couzens was a predator? They knew. You know, they had names for him. They called him the rapist on WhatsApp group chats, and they didn't think to tell anybody. And he was a policeman, which meant he'd give him power. And abusing that power and trust, I thought was disgusting. And I thought, I've got something to say. So we made the series, and it went big, and now we're on our 4th series. We've done Cops Cops Who Kill, Cops Gone Bad, Cops Gone Bad 2, and then we're just about to start a new one about courts and how the justice system has let people down who were innocent and got sent to prison with lack of evidence, served time, and then been found innocent. So, yeah, again, it came around. Again, they just thought, would I be interested? And when I read it, I was like, yeah, man, I want to do this.
And you're so good on it because you again, it's like you say what every one of us watching wants to say. You don't hide your reaction, your shock, or what you feel about it. And that's what I think is important because, you know, having someone sat there just listening, you know, okay, but you're actually in it with us. And that's where I find them gripping.
Well, because that's what used to frustrate me. I'd watch it and I'd go, why are you asking that? Why are you saying that? And I thought, well, I'll do it then. Because some people that sit on the fence and I'm not here to have an opinion. Well, I am. I'm a member of the public as well. And you know what? I've got family, I've got kids, I've got sisters, you know, and my brother-in-law was in the police, you know what I mean? So it's not like I'm cop bashing here. I'm just saying what changes need to be made. What are you doing? What have we learned from Sarah Everard's death? You know, are you pointing the finger at your own? Because a lot of people were saying, well, police just cover up their own, you know, they protect their own. And in this case, they did. And somebody died. And then the series, Cops Who Kill, there's, I think, 7 or 8 episodes. In every episode, a police officer has killed somebody in every episode. That's, and some of them, I mean, there's one, Cops Gone Bad, David Carrick is one of Britain's most serial rapists. For over 2 decades, he raped women, manipulated them, degraded them, and told them all, no one's going to believe you, I'm a police officer. So he knew it, he was protected. And they called him Bastard Dave. That was his nickname. So they knew what he was like. But again, these women, and some of them in the end, when they came forward, brave survivors of what he did, took one to come forward, and then it was like the house of cards. It all just fell down. But he got away with it for 2 decades.
That's so wrong.
And I think all I'm trying to say is, listen, of course we know 99% of police out there are trying to do a good job, but one is enough. One is too many. Because we're told to trust the police. And if they've got a badge, Sarah Everard would never have got in his car if he didn't have a police badge. That's for sure. Yeah. Because he used COVID as the thing. Why are you out on the street? I need to ask you some questions. I'm just going to handcuff you for my protection. I'm going to put you in the back of the car. He showed his badge. Once he's in the back of that car, it's over. Yeah. She's handcuffed. And then she would have known at some point, this is not right here. And he drove her for miles and miles and miles, raped her and burnt her, killed her. Horrible, horrendous, but he wouldn't have been able to do it if he wasn't a police officer. And he shouldn't have been a police officer because he'd been done before for exposing himself. He didn't even lose his job.
You know, with doing these documentaries, I know you've got the passion in the sense of wanting to ask those questions, but does it have an effect on you when you go home and you kind of unwind and think, wow, that's messed up?
I mean, it does when it's the kids. Kids affect me more than anything because I've got kids. And when you're a father, I'm an emotional person anyway. My emotions are everywhere. You know, I'm highs and lows. That's how I am. I have to manage that. But once I had kids, the protection I have for innocence and young people and anybody who's innocent, I want to protect innocent people. And I've always been like that. But with kids, when you read these things, these paedophiles, and there was this series that I just did last year. There's a guy who was a paedophile and what he was doing to these children, who was a police officer, that stays with you because they're innocent.
Yeah.
And I don't know how anybody would want to destroy that. And that bothers me. I'm just human, but I just don't know what goes on in people's minds. And when you read this, you just think, you don't know who you're talking to on a daily basis because a lot of these people, they thought it was lovely. Because they have this other person, they can become master manipulators.
Character.
Yeah. And, you know, they're just narcissists, some of them, and they know how to behave. Because I was saying, what are you doing in the vetting system to let these police in? Have you changed the vetting system? Have you made it more stringent? Are you doing more checks? Because if I was a paedophile or rapist or someone that wanted to be or power hungry, policeman's a perfect job for me. I can hide. So you know it's attractive to control freaks and narcissists. So if you know that, you need to do more in your vetting. And that was what the program was about. And from our program, they have done more and it has made changes. So I'm positive about that. And that's why I do it. But the answer to your question, yeah, it is. It does stay with me. And I do go home and hug my kids a bit harder because I just think, shit, man, it's some horrible people out there.
We've got more. Before I go on, because we've got still more to cover, but I want to go on to Strictly in a moment. But yesterday you were telling me a funny story, and I don't know if you want to say it on camera. You don't have to, of course. But it was the Robbie Williams story.
Yeah.
And you were telling Shane and I in the car. And it's the most random, funniest story that you wouldn't have imagined if you're happy to
Yeah, of course. I've said
one.
it before. I think I've told it before on my podcast a long time ago. But when I was doing music, I was singing When I Need You. It was number 5 in the charts, like I said. And it was either The Point, I can't remember the exact, it was a long time ago. But there was me, Boyzone, Robbie Williams, All Saints, all that. I think Jamiroquai. And we was at this venue. I think it was an island. I think it's the Point Island. We had this after party. And after the after party, we went back to Robbie's room. So Robbie Williams had this suite. He had the biggest suite in the hotel. So Robbie's back to my room. And we're all back in there drinking. Denise Van Houten's in there and all these people. And we're all having a drink and a laugh and whatever else. And then I was in the bath, no water in it, with Keith Duffy from Boyzone, bottle of Jack Daniels. I remember saying, God, it's unbelievable. Robbie's got a TV at the bottom of his bath. I'd never seen that before. And I was like, fucking TV in his bathroom. He's doing well in. You know what I mean? In this suite. Anyway, and Robbie had gone into the wardrobe, right? So Robbie's shut himself in the wardrobe. It's like, where's Robbie? I said, no, he's in the wardrobe. Why? It's like, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, we're all talking. As I said, sat for some reason, I don't know why we're in the bath, but no water in it, fully clothed. Anyway, I come out and we're all sat on the bed talking and great atmosphere. And then after about half an hour, 40 minutes, the doors burst open of this wardrobe and Robbie walks out and the room goes silent and everyone looks and he goes, Narnia is bullshit.
It's all that time for a joke.
All that time to say he's been in there looking for Narnia, the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe.
Oh, wow.
And we all just was like, that's a long time to get a joke payoff. But commitment. Robbie's a very funny man. And I mean, I've seen him not so long ago at Soccer Aid, but he was a very funny man. And yeah, it was great. Great evening. And again, it stands out in my memory because I remember at the time I was in the room and do you know when you have that, again, step off the bus and look around yourself? I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm in the room. How have I got here with all these people? Because I don't change. I'm still that kid. It's your situation changes. And I still find it amazing how people know me. It's weird. I still find it fascinating. And I'm glad I still find it this way and I haven't got carried away with it all. It's great. You know what I mean? It's an amazing, I found myself in some situation going, don't know how I've got here, but it's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Strictly is probably one of those times because the show is huge. There's no bigger show on a Saturday night. Yeah. I'm addicted to the show. So what made you say yes on this occasion?
They'd ask me every year and I was like, no, I'm not doing Strictly. I'd always, it wasn't just the dancing, it was the bits in between, you know, like there was the videos that I'd seen, they were a bit cheesy, you know what I mean? And it was like, all that sort of stuff. And I thought, that's just not me. And then my dad died. My dad was my hero. And I've got 4 sisters all older than me. And one of them was disabled. And I lost her a few years back and I went into a bit of a dark place because of it. And then it was lockdown. My dad got cancer. He had a seizure and he'd had tests, but nothing had shown up. And the cancer had spread he had it in his lung that they didn't know and it'd gone to his brain. So he'd had this seizure. My mum phoned me up and then he said he's got a brain tumor. And I went to see him and because it was lockdown, it's just so stupid thinking about it now. I was sat in his garden and 2 meters between us because that was the rule in his garden. And I just thought, why did I not just hug him then? Why did I not? Why did we all? I mean, I know it was like safety because my dad had cancer. If he'd have caught anything, I understand. But if I'd known then what I know now, and I said to him, I said, Dad, I want to give you a hug. And he said, son, if I get older, I won't be able to let you go. And even now that kills me. Because he knew. And a week later he died. And I never got to see him because he went to hospital and we weren't allowed in. And it was tough. It kicked the shit out of me. because it was just, we did everything together. The thing is, what I did do is all my life I knew it was going to kill me. The inevitable might happen. So I did a lot of things to make sure I made a lot of memories. We took him on trips. We did a thing called Parent Trip together for ITV, where we went to Borneo with the orangutans. We went on a hunt with a tribe and camped under the stars. And I knew at some point I'll be able to look back on this and go, but I did that. I never wanted to be that person that lost somebody and gone, I should have done more. I should have spent more time with them. And your parents, they're not here forever. My mum's still around, thankfully. Call her every day. But my dad, because I had 4 older sisters, he had more of a bond with me because I was a boy. He put me in the boxing ring and we did a lot of stuff together. And, he was my disciplinarian. He was tough on me, my dad. He was quite hard on me because he didn't want me to go down the wrong path. He went to prison, my dad, when he was younger, and he spent a bit of time in prison. He didn't want me to do that. So he was tough on me. And I'm glad he was. So when he died, I didn't want to slip into the darkness that I did when my sister passed away. So I decided to then go, I'm going to just do more stuff. I'm going to do it in his name and I'm going to make him proud. I'm going to do stuff that frightens me and strictly frightened me. I was like, fuck, live every night, live, doing the things that I've never done before. And when they called up, my agent said, listen, Strictly's been on again. Shall I say no? I went, no, I'll say yes. And he went, what? Hey, whoa, let's think about it. I went, no, say yeah. If I think about it, I'll say no. And it was a way to get out of my grief, to go do something. And my mum had been through such a tough time, losing my sister and losing my dad. And she lost her brother and brother-in-law and sister-in-law in 2 weeks. I'll do it for her because it's her favourite show. Did Coronation Street the same reason. But Strictly was her favourite show. And I said, I'm going to do it for her. She went, please tell me you're not going to do it because I can't cope. I said, I'm doing it. She couldn't, and she was blown. It took her, she came with me, you know what I mean? And my sisters. So for that reason, we needed something positive in the family, and I did it. And it was an amazing experience.
And do you know what was special with the show? You did a dance for your dad.
That was it, yeah.
And that was such a special moment because you could see how much it meant to
broke
you
me,
and your mum, and you went out there and done that. So when you look back now and you realise that you've done that dance, and what I was going to ask you, did you ever feel his presence when you were on Strictly?
No, it wasn't so much that. It was more of, it was a good distraction for me as well. I had to train every day. I mean, I don't think I've ever been that fit. The training every day, 7, 8 hours a day, then you just got soaked. I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, so my knees were shot from football. So it was that, doing something positive when I was struggling mentally. But when it came to performing, how nervous I was, and I took everything that he'd given me. Because when I was a kid, he'd be like, get on that stage, son. You know you want to. And I'm like, Dad, I can't. Get on the stage. You know you want to do it. So he'd be the one that'd give me that nudge when there was a talent show or whatever else, and I want to do it. Mum would be like, leave him, Bill. He's all right. Surely he wants to do it. He just needs a nudge. Get up there. Get up, put your name down and go and do it. He pushed me that way because I did want to do it and I just needed it. So when I was up there, it was them words, you're going to do it, so go and do it. Just go and do it, son. And I did. And I got to the semi-final and I achieved everything I needed to do. And that dance that was for him was a song that he used to sing 3 times a lady. He used to sing it to my mum. And in rehearsals, I couldn't get through it without crying. She put the song on and she was like, listen, we're going to have to rehearse. And I just couldn't, because for that week, he was like he was on my shoulder. I knew it was going to be tough. A lot of people took the piss out of me afterwards. My brother-in-law, love the dancing. What are you crying all the time for? And I was like, it's very emotional. When you're in that moment, it was very, and I'm an emotional person, but when you've had grief in your life, it doesn't leave you. Grief stays there. You don't forget. And certain things I can talk about my dad, no problem, and my sister. But then one day I can say something and it just pours out of me. But that's grief.
You said just a minute ago, when your sister passed and that led you down kind of a darker path. I've always thought you're a very good advocate of mental health and mental health awareness. Is it because of the situation and the grief of your sister that you think you're kind of as open?
Yeah, 100%. I am a positive person. I love life. I love people, love meeting people. But I realised I was wearing masks. I would go out and I would be what they'd expect me to be. But then I'd go home and I wasn't in a good place. And that was because I lost my sister. And it wasn't just that. I think it was the circumstances of how I lost my sister, because she had a heart condition. She died more or less when I was 18 and got revived. And she collapsed in the street. And she'd had a heart condition. One of the valves that lets the blood out and in of your heart had gone. And because she had a cold, it was letting all the bad fluid and sickness into her heart. It was crushing her heart. Rushed her to hospital, and they said she was going to die that night. And my dad said, I want a second opinion, and took her to a heart clinic in Withington Hospital in Manchester. And we said, how long? And they said, oh no, we're all right for a while yet. So the other hospital was going to let her go. And because she was disabled as well, there was an element of, I think, how far do we go on saving her? You know what I mean? But they put a valve in, and she still had an operation. They said there was 80% chance she'd die in the operation. She survived that. She came out. They said could be brain damaged even more. She wasn't. Unbelievable story. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because it sets up for then she's on tablets for the rest of her life. She has to have 5 tablets a day, which is a lot, but it's because she has to keep her blood thin. It's for this valve that's in her heart and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, there's a house open around the corner from her mum's. Mum was her prime carer. So around the corner where they offer respite for disabled people. My sister's compass mentis, she can talk, no problem at all. Her spine was bent. She was bent over, her feet turned in a bit, and she had a mental age of probably 7 or 8 year old. But she'd be adult as well. But she knew right from wrong. She knew how to speak. She definitely knew her tablets because she knew that's what kept her alive. She thought, don't take my tablets, I'm going to die. And she went on respite with this company. She wanted to go where they go, take him away for a few nights for a fun time. And the guy who was supposed to give her a medication, she had a doctor's report. She had all the pills in a box, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all that. Decided not to give her her pills and just said, you're not having them. I don't believe you. And Joanne's got, I know, so I'm supposed to have 5. Listen, even talking about it now, it's just fuming. And she called my mum up crying, saying he won't give me tablets. She came home and she had loads of her tablets left. And this bloke gave her 1 instead of 5. Wouldn't even read the report, which he's paid to do. His job is to look after disabled people and give them medication if they need it. He's paid more to do it. And then we found out the company hadn't been signed off by the government. Wow. And she died of a heart attack about 2 weeks later. We put her back on the medication. Because of her heart condition, we took him to court. We took the man to court. And the court said, because she had a heart condition in the first place, we cannot guarantee that was the reason. He didn't even lose his job. You know that?
That's so wrong.
I wanted to kill him.
So wrong.
I wanted to kill him, and I'm happy saying that. And that's why I went into a bit of a dark place, because I felt like I couldn't protect her, that I should have been there, and it bothered me. Yeah. So that is why I talk about mental health, because I didn't speak about it for a long time. And then I had to speak about it because I wasn't being good at home. I wasn't good to my kids. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to work. I just wanted to drink, gamble. I wanted to find happiness somewhere else. And I was in a bad place. And my wife and kids got me out of it, because the love I have for them was so overwhelming that I just thought, I'm going to lose these here, all I've got. Because everything I've got, you can take everything I've got, but you don't take my family. They're my life, they're my world. They're the reason why I do anything. The reason why I get up in the morning, the reason why I want to work and do everything I can. Yes, I love doing it, but to provide for your family is a massive part of my life, and I love it. So I had to get better, and I did. And then I wanted to talk about it in case anybody else was in my situation. And I thought, yeah, if I can help one person, then I've done my job. So yeah, I'm an advocate for it. I work with mental health charities, and I talk about my podcast, and me talking about it now might help somebody to go, talking helps, and it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to have dark times. But keep talking.
I think your life story genuinely is probably the most inspiring we've had on the show, in the sense of just now, I think it's been 90 minutes and you talk about that little boy that was told you're never going to amount to anything. Yeah. And we've just spoke about so much, which then leads me on to, I think when you think of British TV, you think of Coronation Street, and you mentioned that you did that for your mum. So
I said one day if you ask me, I'll do it for your mum. Because the first time I went when I went and met that agent, Lane Management, when I got into it, who's this kid? She said, we're going to take him on. What I didn't tell you is we had to spend £50, right? And we didn't have it. And it was for a photograph of me that goes on their books and then they send out to casting directors to work. And mum and dad didn't have 50 quid. We had no money. We had to scrimp and scrape and they found 50 quid. It sounds ridiculous, but so I could be on their books. And she said, what would you want him to do? Mum said, I just want him to be on Cora.
Oh,
I just love him to be on Cora. And then she had to wait like 40 years or 30 odd years. And then they said, listen, we got this bad guy. We want you to play Harvey. I didn't have to cast for it. The producer rang me up and he said, we've got this guy, we think you'd... And I said, I'd love to play a bad guy. I don't play many. Yeah,
you're always the cheeky chap.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm always up for a challenge, and I knew exactly how to play him, and I loved it, and I did it, and I was saying, my mum had to wait 30 odd years, but I did Coronation Street for her.
Did your mum get to go on the set or anything when you were filming?
She's been on the set. She came to Strictly with me. She was on the front row at the ballroom. She said, one day I'm going to go to that ballroom.
Oh,
and I said, not only are you going to go, Mum, I've got you on the front row. You're going to be there. That's what life's about. Life is about making memories. And if I'm in this situation and I'm in these positions, it means nothing on my own. Take your loved ones with you. Take your friends with you. Experience it with people. I've been in Rome filming with Matthew Modine on a series. It meant nothing to me. I was on my own out there. I was walking past the Pope's gaff. I was walking past these amazing restaurants, fountains. But on my own, it meant nothing. Flew my wife out, and then I could share it. You've got to share things. You've got to do things. Wherever you go in life, you know what I mean? If you're having an amazing experience or there's something, share it. You've got to share it. And being there and doing that with my mum on that front row made that even more special, and my sisters. And, it's massive.
I want to talk about a show that had an impact on me in the sense of, after watching it, I was on Google. When you become a detective when you watch something, and it was Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, because I couldn't believe when I watched this that I didn't know about it.
Me too.
That I wasn't aware. And I genuinely got emotional when you realise that the cast, by the way, incredible.
Yeah.
But when you realise you're playing someone else's story and it's true and they went through this, but they're still going through this. It was a piece of drama I have never seen, and I still watch it back. So when you were, you got the part and you were, going to be on the show and you read the scripts, how did you feel when you realised you're going to tell someone else's story? Because that must be a level of pressure to get it right.
Massive pressure. I've never played somebody that was actually going to watch it. I didn't know the story. Again, I didn't have to cast for it. It's unbelievable. It's happened a couple of times in my life where on 3 occasions now, I've just finished a drama called A Woman of Substance, where they just said we wanted him to play this part, which is, it's an amazing feeling. It's like, wow, what confidence. But then the pressure comes going, well, you better deliver. You know what I mean? And it was that Lee Castleton that I was playing when I read it. Let me tell you a little bit of this beforehand. Before I got the script, I was going to call my agent the day before and say, I'm just take me off your books. I'm not doing the acting anymore. Because, this is the reason, I'd done some unscripted stuff, and I'd done all these other bits, and there was parts that I used to go up for, I was watching on television, and I wasn't being seen for them anymore. I was on the phone to my agent, I was like, what's going on? It's just the way it is at the moment, you just have to ride it out. And I kept thinking, I'm waking up with anxiety going, have I done my last job and I don't even know about it? I wasn't being seen for these parts anymore. So I said to Mrs., you know what, I might just go, I'm going to take control of this. I can do other stuff. I'm just going to do other stuff. And the day I was going to ring him, my phone rang and it was my agent. And he said, I've got a script coming out to you. It's called Mr. Bates versus the Post Office. It's an offer. And it's the biggest job I've ever done.
Wow.
Now, whether you believe in fate or manifestation, it's up to you, but that's God's honest truth. I read the script and I was like, this is a true story. And the more you read it, I was like, how can it? And I don't know about it. How is this not like headlines?
Yeah.
But apparently it'd been in the press, but it doesn't read, there was wrongly accused postmasters because there was a problem with the computer system. If you see that, it's not something you go, oh, I'm going to read that. You just go, oh, what's that? Doesn't tell the full story. And what I wanted to put into this part was to show the emotional drain it had on people, and my character I was playing, what he went through, what his family went through, how it made him feel, how the post office made them all feel, how wrong it was. So when they asked me to play it, I was like, wow. Yeah, I spoke to the director, and it was the same director who cast me in Broadchurch, same one.
Wow.
And he said, listen, I saw this script and I went, we'll be able to do that. So it shows you need people fighting for you. 2 weeks before I was about to give up.
And then that came.
It was amazing. I mean, I met Lee Castleton at the screening. I'd never met him before because he didn't want to come forward. He was nervous. So I read everything I could and I played it. And I opened the door. I had my suitcase, and this other person opened the door for me because I had a suitcase. And I walked past him and went, thanks, mate. He went, I'm Lee Castleton. And I saw him and I just hugged him because I've been playing him for 2 months. I've been crying. I've been all the emotion. And he just said, thank you for what you did. He was crying and he just said, I couldn't have asked anyone to play it any better. And that was all I needed.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can relax. And then the show did more than anybody even imagined. I mean, it was on the news, worldwide news. I was getting phone calls from Sky News, all these people that never really want to talk to me. And it was, letters written and petitions made and arrests, all sorts of stuff happened. And it was the highest rated show that's ever been on television. Since Downton, it was more 16, 17 million. It was just crazy.
And it's just the best piece of drama because when you know it's real, and that's why, I was looking and I was thinking, how has she still got an OBE? And I know you were a big part in getting that removed, and rightly so. But this show really has led the way now in the sense of some kind of justice. You could never get full justice. I mean, people were wrongly sent to prison. They lost their livelihoods. But finally, things are moving in some direction.
Yeah.
Not completely, but...
Not fast enough either. And I really believe the post office are waiting for people to die. I think they know a lot of these people are in their 70s, 80s, and they're thinking, we kick the can down the road a bit more, we won't have to pay these people out.
That's so wrong.
How disgusting that sounds. Would you put it past them for what they did? I mean, they were putting their kids to bed, knowing that they were putting innocent people in prison and killing, people died, people killed themselves, or making people destitute, taking their livelihoods from them. And they were happily doing that. It just baffles my head where the humanity is in that. Because all they had to do was go, well, stop everything, there's a problem with the computers here. We're going to just freeze everything while we just get this right. Instead, they went, no, right, what we'll do is we'll just say it's them and lie. Their reputation's gone forever. I did a documentary called Surviving the Post Office. It's on BBC.
Yeah.
And I went to meet other people who had gone through the same thing, who wasn't in the drama. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out there that have lost thousands and thousands of reputations. People have died, brain seizures because of the stress, being ostracized, bricks coming through the window because they said you were stealing from old people, spat at in the street, who were not even documented. So it shows you how deep this goes. So I thought, give them a voice as well. And also, when you're in a position like I'm in, and I've got a platform, do something good with it. Try and make something different, and then I can sleep better at night. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you get given responsibility, but I want to take that on a bit and just go, well, if I can do something good with this, then good. You know what I mean? I'm doing something, because there's not much I can do, but if I can do something, I will.
It leads me to what I said earlier about you really have this way of connecting with people because you did the show and clearly you felt something when you were portraying Lee. And I've watched the documentary, and again, the fact that you feel it and you're in it with everyone, you're in it with them, you're in it with us that's watching, and that's what made it so raw, so real. But I'm going to go something a bit different now for you, which is a quiz all about you and your career.
Yeah.
And if you have any funny stories you want to add to some of these.
You know me, I can talk for England.
But, well, we took...
Probably your longest interview, sorry.
Do you know, it is.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Shane said it would be.
Sorry, everybody.
In a good way. But question number one, you appeared in Broadchurch in 2013, but what was the name of your character?
Steve Connolly.
Yes. You played Liam in With the Flynns, but on how many episodes did you appear?
I was the lead, so I was in every episode, but I don't know how many we did. 20?
12.
Oh! Really?
Your Michael Jackson impression came out then.
12?
12.
Was it 6 episodes then? We did 2 series.
So, but yeah, 6 a series.
Oh.
In what year did you star in the TV film Is Harry on the Boat?
In what year?
Yeah.
Rah. So before kids, dated Michelle. I reckon I was 21, 22. So I'd say that's, so 20, so how old am I? 49, 39, 39. 39. So it's 27 years ago, I'd say. So that's 1998.
2001.
Ah!
It's harder, isn't it?
Oh, no, hang on. 27 years. Yeah. So I've gone wrong. Yeah, go on. Wow.
What was your character name in Sorted?
Barnpot.
Yes. There we
Love
go.
Sorted. That was a series. Honestly, I'll tell you the truth for this. It was the highest rated series they'd had on the channel. First series about me, Hugo Spear, Neil Dudgeon. Great cast. It was about a post office and what went on. We were posties, but the stories were all about that. We got the viewing figures, number 1. And the exec producers went from, it was either to BBC to ITV or reverse, whichever it was. And because they left, new people that came and said, well, it's not our show. So they dumped it. And it was number 1, the highest rated dinner.
Wow.
That's how crazy it was. People were going, where's series 2? The writer was Danny Brocklebank, who writes, what's that comedy? Brassic.
Oh, nice.
He's a great writer. He was already writing season 2 because we were all high-fiving, highest rated. So they never get rid of the highest rated show. But because of politics, he was in tears. Terrible. But anyway, Sorted, great show. We loved it.
They should bring that back. In 2007, you played Tom in which TV series? So in 2007, you played Tom in which TV series?
2007. Wow. Tom. Is it a regular show?
For you, no.
No, but it is a regular show. I can't remember. Who was it?
The Street?
Oh, God, my first gay role. It was my first... I've got a story about that.
Go on.
My first gay role. Yeah, Tom, yeah. Yes, it was me and Vincent Regan. Vincent Regan's a big Hollywood actor. He did 300 and all that. We're both alpha males. And basically, it was my first gay role. And it was about 2 men getting it on a building site, right? And The Street it was a massive show. It was, you're talking award-winning, big drama. It won the Emmy and everything. They were casting for it. And there used to be a cameraman that worked on Hollyoaks, Terry McDonough. And he was directing this. He ended up directing Breaking Bad and stuff. He worked with the massive people. Anyway, he wanted me to play this part. And ITV said, no, Will's not right for it. And he said, I know Will's right for this part. And I went and read, performed it, did it. And they just was like, we're not having him. No. And he said, well, I'll leave the job because Will's right for this part. And they said, on your head be it. Literally, they just didn't want me. Sometimes you get people high up who just don't want you. And because it was the first gay role, he wanted 2 alpha males. He didn't want someone who was playing it more effeminate. He wanted, and we had to, anyway, it went on to win the Emmy. So he was right. And it went really well and I did well off it. But there was this scene that I had to do. Remember, I'm playing a gay guy and we're in digs. So we're in this, and he's got a wife and kids, but I can see something in him. And he's saying, no, I'm 100% man. And I was like, what is 100% man? And how can you be 100% straight? No one's 100% straight. And anyway, I'm in bed and he's in bed and he's asleep. And the shot has to be me getting out of bed, naked, and approaching him, and then going to try and kiss him, basically. And he refused. What are you doing? Get off and all that. So that's the scene. The director's got the camera here. I get out of bed, and it's my bare ass right in front of the camera there, and then I walk towards him in bed. He goes, action. I get out of bed. I walk, ass in front of the camera like that. And I step forward. He goes, cut. And I went, what's up? What's happened? He went, your ass looked nervous. I went, what? He said, your ass, it looked nervous. He said, you're not nervous, you're gay, remember? So I said, how can my ass look nervous? He said, what happened was, he says, you're stood there, right? And it was all fine, you walk in front of the camera, but as you went to step forward, your ass went... I was like, fucking hell. I've got to think about how to act with my ass now. So, yeah, nervous
That's
ass.
something different.
True. So that was, yeah. But it went on to win the Emmy, and, yeah, I'm glad that... Because I've always had doors that stayed shut to me. No matter how much I did, they didn't want me. And that was the one where they didn't want me, and the director stood up for me and gave me the... So it shows you need people in your corner.
That's a theme in this as well. Like, you've had a lot of people back you, but they've always been proved to be right.
Well, do you know what the problem is? People like to put you in a pigeonhole. They go, he does comedy. Oh, he's a comedy actor. He can't do that. And that's why you always have to keep proving yourself. You can't go, well, I'll do that. It's like, no, you have to. That's why Casualty was a good bridge to do drama. And all through my career, everything has led to something else. And I've sort of done that on purpose, but you do need a lot of luck. Like, you need people in your corner, like I said. Listen, I will deliver, and I believe in myself, but there's no way I can do this on my own. I need people to back me. I need directors to back me. I need casting directors to put me in the room. You need people, and I'm grateful that people, have put me forward, because then it's on me, and I'll know I'll deliver on the day.
What's special about interviews, sometimes you learn a lot, but from this, I've learned a lot that I'll go away with.
Oh, good.
It's been really
that's what's
good.
important, it's what's important.
Question number 6. You danced on Strictly to Luther Vandross' Never Too Much, but what dance did you dance that song to?
Salsa.
Yes.
You know why I remember that? Because I forgot what I was doing halfway through. And Nancy went, spin me! I had a migraine in the day in rehearsals. I was in rehearsals and I was doing it, and I did this thing, and I used to have, I've had my eyes, lens replacement in my eyes now because I needed glasses. And a light caught my eye, and that used to trigger migraines for me. And I saw her, I went, no. And I was in rehearsals that day, and I went, and she went, what? And I went, and I did that, and my eyes started flashing. That means a migraine's coming. So I had to go and lie down in a dark room for an hour, and we were doing it live in 2-3 hours' time. And I'm lay there, and then when it came to it, migraine had gone, but I'm doing the dance, and then I had a blank spot. I just stepped out of it for a second, and remember, this is live on telly.
Yeah.
And she saw the fear in my eyes, because I must have gone, as if to go, I forgot it. And she went, spin me! And then I got it back, but I went a bit wrong, and then one of the judges went, did you have a little blip in a minute there? And I should have said, no, but I went, yeah, I forgot it!
Yeah, you were very honest.
But it was, because of that, I think I was sort of panicking, and but that's why I remember that song.
Wasn't it, I can't remember who the judge was, but wasn't it Craig that didn't notice that you did that? And someone said, I wouldn't have known. Question number 7. How many times did you appear on Celebrity Juice?
Oh my God, quite a lot. I became a regular on that for a while, because Lee Francis, who's Keith Lemon, good friend of mine, some of the funniest times I've had doing anything is that as soon as you go there, they give you a beer, because they go, let's loosen him up a bit, because what we've got you doing later. And also, I don't mind taking the piss out myself. And on that show, you can't go on there and go, well, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing that. You've got to just go and have fun. And just have a load. And the more fun you have, the more you laugh at yourself, the more people enjoy it. But the answer to your question, I'd say 12.
25.
What?
25 times you appeared on the show. You starred alongside Jill Halfpenny, Catherine Parkinson, and Christine Bottomley in which series?
Who?
So, Jill Halfpenny.
Oh, I know this. I know it.
Which?
It's called In the Club.
Yes.
It was a series for Will Mellor about women that were pregnant and dealing with that period. My character had lost his job. She was pregnant. We already had 2 kids. And he'd been going to work every morning, pretending to go to work, but the bills were piling up, and he'd been letting it pile up, and he was skint. And he ended up he took the kids for pizza, and he couldn't even pay for that. So he walked across the road and robbed a bank with an iPhone cable. saying he had a bomb strapped to him. But he was the nicest bank robber. He's like, listen, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to blow the bank up if you don't give me your money. I'm sorry to do this, but it's a bomb and I'm going to blow it up. And it was like, I'm sorry for doing this to you. It was like really apologetic. Yeah. But it was a really heartwarming, great series. And Kay Mellor, I did quite a few bits for her. Great writer, and God rest her soul, she passed away. She had a brain seizure or something. So sad, but an amazing writer. People thought I was related to her for years. Do you know, Pauline Quirk, right, we did Broadchurch together. The only reason she spoke to me because she thought I was Kay Mellor's son. For years, she thought, we was having a drink, and we had these caravans, and we was having a drink, and she was like, so anyway, how is your mum? And I thought, she doesn't know my mum. I said, how do you know my mum? She used to work at a chippy, my mum. She went, Kay. I said, Kay Mellor's not my mum. She went, why have I been talking to you all day? I went, oh, that's why you've been talking to me. So no, Kay Mellor's not my mum, but an amazing writer, and I know her daughter's Gaynor as well, and Yvonne, and I've worked with them on other stuff, because I did Fat Friends as well years ago, with Kay Mellor written and Gaynor Faye. So another one who was in my corner, always cast me and stuff.
What was Freddie Hogan's character in Two Pints?
Oh, man. Neil?
Billy.
Oh.
And finally, what is the name of the pub in Hollyoaks?
Oh, the Dog in the Pond.
Yes, there we go. So I think we got 5.
I used to come through the window of that as Jambo.
3. I'm just going to look. 3, 4.
I feel I did more than 5.
5.
5 out of what?
10.
Can't have been 5 out of 10. Really? What did I get wrong?
You got the...
I got the years, yeah. I forgot about them.
It's harder, isn't it? More recently, I know Shane mentioned it yesterday, and he loved, the music, and you posted it, you Bring Him Home.
Oh, yeah.
And that was when people just stopped and went, he can sing, and it was amazing. And that, again, it was like this new life for you where people were like, you are an incredible vocalist with so much soul.
I love, like I say, I love singing. Being on stage is probably my favourite thing to do. If there was a thing, say, it's performing. And being an actor, you got to remember when you're doing acting, a lot of the times it's stop-start, you're waiting for cameras, you do your thing and then they go, right, we'll do that again, or right, we'll wait another hour, turn the cameras around. So it's a longer process, but performing live on stage, there's no better feeling than that. And that living, that's what I loved and hated about Strictly was the dances, because at that moment, it's like on the edge of that diving board, you got to jump. And when they say go, you got to go. And from that moment, it's live, 10 million people are watching. That feeling you get, that adrenaline rush, is second to none, better than any drug. It's unbelievable. And what I love about being on stage is the feeling of performing and singing. I love and adore, I love music. Music moves me. And that song, it was just, I sang it at a cathedral for When You Wish Upon a Star, who I'm an ambassador for, which is a charity, it's a northern-based charity. They cover a lot of areas where we grant wishes for families and children that have been really sick or terminally ill. I've been with them for 20-odd years now, since I was 20-odd years old, 20 years old. And been to Lapland with them, took children. We've raised money because it's not government funded, so we can grant wishes, putting smiles on kids' faces who deserve it and need it. Some of them haven't got long to live, but we give them their dream, their wish. So this day was a fundraiser, and I was singing at the cathedral, and they were singing, and they said, will you sing a song? And I said, well, what are you doing? And they said, we're doing some songs from musicals. Could you do a song from a musical? And I love Bring Him Home. It's not what I usually sing, musical songs, but that song has a resonance with me, and I love it. I'm passionate about it. And again, if I'm passionate about something, then I want to do it. And I sang it, someone filmed it, and they sent it me. And I thought, well, it'll get awareness for the charity. I'll put it out. And also, I like the song. And then it just went crazy, millions and millions of views and people, and then people saying release it. So I released it and dedicated all the money to the charity. So we raised more money for the charity and got the awareness out there. But also opened another door for me to do more music, which I probably will do. Again, one thing I've learned is how short life is and how much we need to live it. And don't worry too much about what other people think, because I do. I care too much. And the reason why I haven't done more music is I was thinking, if I do that, are people going to think, no, I'm not doing the acting because I'm doing, or are people going to go, why is he singing? Overthinking it. And that made me realise that, no, people are a bit more like, no, if you want to sing, sing. So why not?
I think we all know you now, that you're one of the most versatile kind of personalities in the sense of actor. You make people laugh, you can sing. So we want the acting, we want the music, we want the podcast. So just keep giving us as much as you can because we love it.
I just want to have, I never want to look back and say I should have.
Yeah.
The older I get now, listen, I've done it now. Surely I can't do too much harm to my career anymore. I'm 49 now. I'm going to do my book. I think next year is the perfect time, 50, to do my autobiography. I'm going to call it Where There's a Will.
Nice.
I've had that title for years. Well, it's got a lot of meanings because, I've needed a lot of willpower throughout the time, and also having the will to believe in yourself and believe in your dreams, having the will to push through. And it's a message to other people, you know, if you've got the will to do something, you'll succeed. If you've got the will to keep going and believing in your dreams, you'll get there. But also I've got a lot to say. As you know what I've said today, there's a lot that's gone on. I've had wins and losses, I've had ups and downs, and I come from the same place as a lot of people who maybe don't think it's possible. And I'd like to say it is.
Well, I've got to say, this interview's been one of the best we've had because I've learned a lot personally, and I think it's just inspiring. You know, like you said, to be that boy where you think, I want this to happen, then the little break started happening, and you look, and so many years have gone by, and we've just spoke about so many incredible shows with the most incredible cast and stories, and you've been at the forefront of that. So thank you so much for giving me the chance today. It's been incredible. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Sorry I went on a bit longer than you.
No, that's our longest one, and it's the best one.
I apologise, but I can talk for England.
Thank you very much.